What's up, guys? How's everybody doing today? Today I'm going to be having a very interesting review for you guys. Hopefully one that's very helpful, and hopefully it'll be very in-depth and you guys will really be able to understand how to tell the difference between a real Yeezy V2 versus a fake. I have the core black, core white colorway, or the Oreo is what people call it, but I don't think it was the official name, so I'm just going to go with the core black, core white, but we can call them Oreos, whatever you want. I have a retail pair here, actually from Adidas.com. And then I have a unauthorized pair as well to compare it to. The unauthorized pair, I'm not going to tell you where it came from because I'm not promoting this video in any sort of way whatsoever. This isn't a promotion to go out and go buy fakes. This is just clearly a video for your education and how to not get scammed and how to look for the right stuff. Alright, so first, everybody always goes off about a box. I really don't want to show the box, and I'm not really going to go into depth. The only thing I'm going to talk about with the box is one thing, is the size. I owned a pair of Retail Belugas. I got them from Kicks USA. The size of the box was smaller than this box right here. I've seen other V2s that have a box a little smaller, a little bigger some. I don't know if it goes by size. I'm not the biggest on the box because the box isn't the shoes. But, I mean, all I know is basically this is the retail box, so this is what it's gonna look like, and that is what the size tag on the box is going to look like as well. Take a picture of that logo if you want to, but that's how I would check on the box for the size tag logo. You can also scan this to see if it'll match up with a phone by using a QR app. If you don't feel like scanning it, I mean, that's on you. But I'm gonna be able to show you guys through the shoes, so you shouldn't have to worry about this box whatsoever at all. Now this shoe right here is actually half a size smaller, and then this one here is half a size larger. So we can tell the difference there, but there's also other differences within the shoes that we're going to be talking about. I also would like to say one thing about these shoes as well, is that I would not judge these shoes with a receipt. The receipt is something that basically every sneaker boutique basically says. So basically, you go in there with a retail pair of shoes, you don't have a receipt, they're still going to question you and compare it, depending on what shop you go to, depending on how well they know their stuff. That's just something I know from experience. The receipt is usually something they look at. Adidas.com does not officially give you a receipt. You have to actually go into your email and print out the online receipt or take pictures of it of some sort. Depending on the stores are going to be the different receipts you're going to get. But I know Adidas doesn't really ship the box with an official receipt, or at least these ones did not come with one. So without further ado, let's get into the review. So here they are. We have one right here, one right here. Put them up for you. There they are. Which one is real? Which one is the unauthorized? Now on camera you might be able to tell, you might not be able to tell. Visually in person you kind of cannot tell. I don't see how you're going to be able to really know this. I mixed the two of these up. If it wasn't for the size and minor things that I personally know about, I wouldn't be able to tell. But for this instance, the one with the tag on it still is actually the authentic from Adidas.com retail, and this is the unauthorized authentic right here. Alright, so main differences with these shoes right off the bat. When you see this on foot, let me just show. I'm just going to put the unauthorized one up. Holding my light up, that's the unauthorized shoe right there. Now if you take a look, my camera's actually showing perfectly the color of this. It looks like the green, and this is not on the unauthorized one only. This is the same with the retail. It is a greenish tint. I'm going to try and get them both in there so you can see that they're colors. The colors are the same on these, even if it looks a little different. But the color is exactly the same on this shoe. Both of them have that greenish looking look to them, kind of like the olive shoe, I would say. When different lighting it looks more white than others, and then certain lighting it looks straight up like the olive. And if you could just notice right off the bat, the retail one, the tongue is kind of actually more crinkled looking than on the unauthorized, which has a more firm tongue. Now, these aren't signs that are going to strictly point towards it being an unauthorized shoe. The unauthorized shoes are made by completely different people. They're gotten from different places, and each of them have their own differences. as you could tell between these ones visually, when you put this on foot, that tongue's going to look identical, and it's not really something that you can say makes the shoe fake or not, because in the end of the line, on the bottom line is this tongue is the actual correct material here as that tongue, and on foot it looks identical, and as long as your materials are on point without, you know, that proof that it came from Adidas, there's not much of a difference between the two of the shoes, one being unauthorized, one being authorized. So I'm going to show you guys the actual flaws within it, and there's a couple of flaws that I think people are messing up online as well. So first things I'm going to point out on the unauthorized shoe is I'm going to try and put it right here for you, and I'm going to zoom in on this, and we're going to see how this looks. Now I'm using a very clear camera right now, and hopefully everyone's going to be able to see this. And I'm going to just put my hand inside of this to make it even easier to see. Right here, where the stripe is, which is supposed to be the core white, but it's very close to the olive. If you push on it, see how like there's black dots there? If you do this to the retail pair, it'll look identical to this. But when I take my finger out, across the whole band, you have these little tiny black dots. They're very hard to see, and on foot, it's not something you're going to notice, but they have these little black dots, and it actually makes the stripe appear a little darker, although the color of it is actually exactly the same. When we take a look on the retail pair, you could see where those dots would be. Now that section kind of has it. I don't know if it's going to show up on camera perfectly, but where the dots would be, it's kind of just like they're very little black dots. If I were to push on it, like as if, hang on. If I were to push on it where like you did have like your foot in here, the black dots, and I stretch it, the black dots are going to appear exactly as they do on the unauthorized. So it's almost just as the unauthorized is a little bit looser, and not really much of a fake flaw, but it kind of comes more looser. So if you're getting a dead stock pair, I would look for it to be more clean like this, and you want to just have it more flush, and the black dots should be very minor, and they shouldn't be major like on this one. If you guys can see them, they're a lot larger, and you can really see them go all the way around the line. And from a distance, I think you guys might be able to tell, you can see the black dots in here, as on that one it kind of looks like little white stitching marks versus the black ones, and it also does make it appear a tiny bit darker. Now the unauthorized pair I have is what I would think to be one of the best ones on the market right now, and this is why I'm showing you the better version so you don't get scammed. This one has, like, as you can see, it looks like an orange look, but the retail shares that same look. That's the sole being translucent to the white boost that fills the entire midsole of the shoe. Both of them share that, so they're very translucent. I would say that the outsoles of these are, I would guess, identical on them. I don't really see much of a difference there, so that's not something I'd be concerned about. Alright guys, so now I'm going to show you guys the difference between the back parts of these. There's been a lot of differences with people saying like color difference and everything. If you really take a look at this, oh, not showing it right. If you really take a look at this, you can see it's like a shiny black. This is the unauthorized, by the way, that we're looking at. This one is a little bit of a darker black. Yeah, you could see it on camera. Depending on the lighting, these two are going to look identical, but this one is a tiny bit darker. The lines, like the three stripes here, they are 3M on both of these, by the way, which means that they reflect when you take a picture with flash or get the right lighting on them. These are thicker than on this one, as you can see. These are a little bit thinner than those. This is wider, and people always say like how the unauthorized have a wider one or fakes have a wider. In my opinion, this is only wider because the shoe is like stretched out and like it has the black dots, as I said, as you could see there. What I would do, if you take this and you actually did pinch it, like and made the shoe right, it matches. If you pinch the shoe the way that the shoe should be on the retail and it's not stretched out, it actually matches that perfect. So this extra amount of space can also exist on this if you stretched it out. So I think after a couple wears, you're going to wind up looking like this shoe anyway in the end. So the width of it is not something I would be concerned about, but more of the color and the size of the stripes. and they might vary because this one happens to be a bigger shoe and this one's smaller. I'm not 100% sure on that. If anyone knows in the comments, just let me know, but I do think that that is a big one. So on the left side we have the unauthorized, and on the right is the authentic. As you could see straight off the bat, and we're going to be looking at right here, this whole part right here. This one, as I said, you could tell it's squished together. It's nice and tight in the back, and this one is a lot looser. So if you were to pinch it together, you know, you'll get that same exact like look. This is actually looking wider because it's not pinched together like this one is. But material wise, the materials are on point. Between this and this, they feel about the same. Not much. If anything, this one maybe a little bit firmer than this one, but this one I mean has more cushion than this one would, but it feels more like a thicker prime knit up top. The main difference here that I'm noticing is between this and this, the retail, and it was talked about on a lot of pairs that originally fakes, this part was being too much. There was too much of the white coming over before it pixelated out. On the retail pair for this, it actually comes out a lot first. Like you get a nice little band of white and then it pixelates out just to where it kind of hangs on to the other side a tad bit. These ones hang on to the other side a little bit as well, but they don't pixel out as much. I have seen other authentic pairs though that do look a little bit like this one, so I'm not going to call this one a straight up huge big deal because it's not like an over amount of white. Like this is the correct amount, and this one's a little bit less. It's not the biggest deal in the world, but it's still a minor flaw, and you could still look out for that. And you know, if you have any of the other signs with this as well, then I would be concerned. Another flaw. This is the unauthorized pair. Another flaw would be like that you could see like the lines here a little bit when this part wraps up around the sole. It's just not as clean. And this is more like a Jordan B grade flaw that like Jordans have, where like something's not as clean with the glue or whatever. This just isn't as clean when it comes around versus the authentic that is just clean straight across. You really cannot tell that it's there. There's, you know, a little bit of a glue line here. So authentics are messy too. So this isn't something that is that big of a deal. But on most unauthorized or replicas, you're gonna run into it being sloppy like this a lot of the time. Just for reference, in case I didn't say it earlier, majority, all the unauthorized and replicas now do come with the white tag that you see right here. It's not focusing on camera, but this tag is on all the unauthorized. Alright, so right now what I'm showing you guys is the retail shoe. If you take a look at the retail shoe, you can see that there's like dots right here of the core white color coming through, and it pixelates around like that. And this is the end of the back part, comes around, pixelates out, and then you have these dots that scatter around, and then you have a nice thick white band. On the unauthorized pair, it's there. You can see where it would come down, but it's just not there as much, you know. And it's on the other shoe a little bit more, I guess. If I take the other unauthorized shoe, which I have right here, you can see the white a lot better on there, but it's not as thick as it is on this one versus that one. So it could, once again, because it's a smaller size, be looking like that. Let me know again in the comments if anybody else sees this on their actual retail pair. But in my personal opinion, this one is smaller and this one is larger, so that would be something to look out for. Then we're going to talk about the material and the laces. Laces are actually identical, material-wise, width-wise, they're exactly the same. Only difference I would say is that the lace tips on the unauthorized, this is the unauthorized by the way, this is the retail. The unauthorized pair, they're black, but they have little bits of white hairs, I guess, coming off of them, and white threading. This one is completely black on the tip here, dyed black completely. Lace tips themselves are the same. Material wise on these shoes, both of them feature the prime knit. The materials are identical on both of these shoes. I don't see a difference. Comfort on both of them is exact. There's the same exact feel you're going to get out of both of these shoes. Will they last? I think they're going to last about the same as well too. So that's just something, by putting it on, you might not be able to tell. This one does feature a little bit of a thicker, it's a little thicker on the upper when you're wearing it, because underneath of this is like a glue or a plastic that holds this together. It's also featured on the retail, but the retail is just a little bit more breathable, I would say, than the unauthorized as well. The stitching seems to be the same that comes around the top here as well too. I don't really see much of a difference with the stitching. The white stripes, some people were saying that these dots here matter, that you would see on the tops here. I personally don't see a difference between them. I don't know if it does matter, but I know that these pairs do have it on point. So they look pretty much the same to me, and I know that this does vary on the size. Same with dots that come on the bottoms of the shoes here. These will vary with size as well too. Alright, so I took the light off of this so that you guys are going to be able to see this. Nobody online, I haven't seen anybody really talk about the Boost other than its material and say that it's almost on point, seems the same. Well, it's not. I've noticed this in their videos, I see it, and this is something that I'm going to be talking about that I don't think anyone else did, and this is the easiest way to tell. Once again, I owned a Beluga at one time in my life. The Belugas were the first, or the Beluga, I'm not sure how people say it, but it was the first Yeezy V2 to release. The Boost was identical to this pair now that I have of the V2's Core White. It's exactly the same, very smooth. It has 7 dots in total, just like a V1, but it's got like these 3 stripe circles. They're weird. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you have 5, 6, 7 here, and then these little bits of lines around the outside. Very smooth glazed Boost, and it's very soft, a little bit softer than the V1 Boost. This one tries to replicate the patterns here, the circle patterns, but they're very sloppy. You could tell that there's a shiny glue over the top. It gets very dirty because of it, and it's just really scratchy, it's rough, and underneath of that it's very defined, like other people say. They feel, if you squish them both, they're both just as soft, which is pretty good. That's why they feel the same on foot. And the biggest thing that I've noticed with Boost is this one is larger. It's actually a lot larger. If I put my pinky there, you could see the amount of space you have. If I put my pinky here, it covers the entire top part of it. This is a lot thinner around here than this one is. This gets very wide. Lengthwise, they are the same. Okay, they're the same length coming up. They're just being held a little different. But these are the same. From here to here and here to here is the same length. It's the width of it. This is very skinny, this is very wide. So when you look at this and you pick this up next to retail, you look at it and you're like, what is wrong with that Boost? It looks weird. If you don't have a retail on you, you probably won't notice this, but the best way to tell is going to be the sloppy look and then the clean look. I'm going to show a clear image of both of them separately, and then you'll be able to see retail versus the unauthorized. This next part, and this is going to be the last part, is going to be the inserts. This is what everybody talks about. There is a very, very, very minor difference, and I'm not sure if it's like this on every pair or if this just has to be, if it depends on the pairs that have different inserts. I know that on Yeezy V1, some pairs were, the inserts were a little bit different than others. I don't know if this is a fake, unauthorized thing, but we're going to see. This is the retail insert. You see, it's flat. Both of these are flat, and it's going to be flat on the other one too. The only difference I notice is, do you see the amount of space between the leaf and this dot pattern? There's like a little, I don't know, about a millimeter gap, maybe 2 millimeter gap. It's, you know, you could see a nice outline of the Adidas logo. And we're talking about the logo. Okay? This one, flat as well. The line between this and this is a tiny bit thinner. The difference between them is very minor. I'm just going to take it out and put it right next to it, so hopefully you guys can see the difference. There you go, best I can show it. This one, bit thicker outline, a little thinner. That is the difference on the inserts. Inside of these shoes, now this is going to be inside the unauthorized pair. I'm going to show you inside the shoe. This is the unauthorized, but it's exactly the same as the retail. The inside of this, there's the stitching. It goes around the sides there. Pretty hard to see, but also you see like this brown gook here. It's the glue, and it's just sporadic on each one. It's just poor quality on both of them, on both behalf, to have the glue stains running through the shoe. You can see the brown right there, and it just kind of just runs throughout the whole bottom of it. But the Boost is just as soft on both, and the glue really doesn't affect the comfort of the shoe. Another thing to point out, this is inside of the retail shoe. There's a little sticker inside that proves its authenticity. Unauthorized, I haven't seen any with this yet. If you guys know of any with it, please let me know, but I doubt that they have one. I didn't show you guys the fonts really on the inserts here, but the fonts were identical between the two of them. I didn't notice any difference whatsoever. That's why I really didn't show it. It wasn't much to show. So that's about that. Alright guys, so that's about it for this review. I really hope this helped you guys out. I really hope now you can tell the difference between the retails versus the unauthorized. At this point, I mean, it's getting scary close, is what people call it. I mean, for very cheap prices on Chinese websites, you can actually purchase the fake versions and unauthorized versions of the shoe. They're almost identical on foot. You will never, ever, I mean, I'm going to tell you, you're not going to get called out unless you're someone that has never worn a Yeezy in your life and then wears it and someone assumes it to be fake. They cannot really prove it to you unless they take this shoe off of your foot. It's that close. That's really everything else I have to say. The shape is pretty much on point, as I said. The only thing was the unauthorized was just a little wider. If it was just built like that, there really wouldn't be any differences besides the inside lining on the back, your Boost. That's about it, guys. There's really not many other ways to tell. If anything, please, I tried to make this video as clear as possible. Please feel free to take pictures, screenshot it so you guys can check out your own pairs. If you guys have any questions whether or not your shoes are fake or not and you want to know, send me pictures. I would be happy to answer your DMs. My Instagram is going to be at the outro on the end and also in the description. You guys can follow me on Instagram, so I'll be able to see your DMs. Send me pictures and I'll be happy to help you guys out and let you know if your Yeezys are real or fake. These guys go for about, I would say, they sell on an average for about maybe around 500 average. Low prices $450 and the high can go up to about $700, and that's for this colorway. The V2s aren't as expensive as V1s, so you know, you could basically tell by price in some cases too. Guys, I'd also just like to add in here real quick, if you are planning on buying a pair of Yeezy V2s, they do tend to fit very tight, so I would go a half size up or a full size up if you can. I recommend just go the half size up. True to size pairs just fit very weird and they feel like you're going to like rip through the shoe. So whatever you do, go for a half size up. Anyway guys, thanks a lot for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll be seeing you guys later.